There are literally dozens of analog spaceflight sites around the world. I chose the top 10 that I wanted to talk about. Anyway, it is a 650 square foot, 3-story structure. So the 3 stories makes it sound big, but the 650 square feet makes it sound really tiny. So I don't know how long you would want to be on board one of these things, completely isolated, not allowed to go outside for any length of time. If you're going to be going to Mars or the moon or really anywhere in an isolated environment for a long period of time, and Mars is a good analog test case here because we do not have the capability to go back and forth to Mars at all yet. But even when we start going, it's going to be a very long way to, a very long way back. And so we're going to have to learn how to stay in these tiny little habitats for long periods of time and live off the land and all that. There's the difference in the analog missions between being stuck indoors with a crew, which is very important for isolation, crew bonding, psychology, all of that. And now you get to the extreme environments of the desert or isolated environments where you can sort of pretend you can do EVAs, you can test spacesuits, you could do geology. There's different reasons why you'd want to do an analog mission. And they call them aquanauts, which I think is adorable. And so it's the NASA Extreme Environment Mission Operations, NEMO. And I've heard from astronauts that this is like the best analog because you really are in this pressurized environment, in a dangerous environment, very, very isolated. You literally have to wear a suit to get out of your facility. And all of these mainly are to study different aspects of human spaceflight, whether it is the isolation or the remote environment or testing the equipment or doing geology research or whatever it happens to be.
Studying isolation curriculum. And then Allison says, adding to the data needed for a successful permanent facility on other celestial bodies.
Allison, do you want to get more specific? Like what kind of data?
So I think part of it is just figuring out how we would make it work, like what sort of resources would we need to really bring with us, how self-sustaining can we be at this time, because I think a lot of people think, okay, well, we can set this up and it'll be fine, like they can farm, they can do this, but I don't think we're there. And so learning how often will you need supplies, like will we be able to do this, how tied will you be to to Earth, and that will make a big difference in how we plan our missions, like how much you take with us, how often we have resupply missions, things like that.